being taken seriously. That was so hard. Like, so little people would see the work that us lot were doing and be like, oh yeah, that's cool. They'd be like, you can't read that, it's a waste of time.
Yeah.
I'm like, nah, this is a thing. Trust me. And I've taken that attitude my whole life. I've never let anyone kind of talk me down in my work. I'm like, my work's sick. And even when it wasn't, I'm working towards being sick. So I think having that attitude towards the people that aren't going to take you seriously, like, shut them down, screw them.
Welcome to Metalworx Tales from the Forge, where I invite the sickest artists and designers in the world of metal to come and share their secrets. My second guest on the show is the phenomenal Kai Blackwell of Lab 13 Media, a god-tier graphic designer, blending grimdark futurism with a razor-sharp hardcore edge. Kai has been putting his unique mark on the industry, working with the likes of Wax Vessel, Hollywood Undead, Dion Timmer, and is a resident designer at Hired Guns Creative. What is up, Kai? How you doing, my old friend?
First of all, I just got blown away by the nice words you just said about me. That feels crazy. Thank you. I'm good. I'm great. How about you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm doing better now that we're having a chat, because as I kind of touched on there earlier, I've got a little like origin story of where I first came across your work. And do you remember?
All right.
This is like, I'm going to say like 5 or 6 years ago. It was definitely when I just finished in design college. And
I hope I don't forget.
You know Tom Stroud, XXV Art?
I know the name, but I'm like trying to remember. I've got like a local tattoo artist. Oh, Tom, yes. Love his work. He's like he's UK. Brighton? Is he Brighton?
Yeah. I don't know where in the UK. He's definitely UK, but he invited me into like a Facebook artist group called Creative Control, and it was like...
Yeah, I remember that group.
Yeah, it was like mural painters and like maybe tattoo artists and all as well, but I saw you posted a logo, and I think it was the Snake Father logo. And I was like,
wow.
I was like,
the old Snake Father logo.
Yeah. When I saw it, I was like, who's this lad now? And I think I added you, and then through you, I found the community of metal designers, and we've been internet friends ever since.
We kind of have, and there's like already so much I want to touch upon there. Like one, Tom's work, big up. It's so cool. I love the like unique kind of like perfectly trashy style of it. Big up. I still enjoy seeing his work every day. Right, that was the group, the Snake Father logo, that was it. So that, I cannot like that. Now when I look at that logo, I'm like, that's so rough. Luckily, like they liked it then, but like a couple months ago, I actually did them another new logo, because like he does album cycles and he goes through different designers. So he's had Imperfect Design do one, which is really nice. I think Eden Belmontes, I think it might be I might be saying it.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry. I think he's recently started up something called Yokai. It's like an anime thing that he draws.
He's a top memer, that guy.
Yeah. He did them the logo, and I think there might have been someone else. Sorry if I'm forgetting anyone. And then it came full circle, and like he's now just finally started posting like the work, the latest logo I've done for him. And to be honest, one of my favorite logos. So it's just so cool to hear Snake Father kind of come full circle again. And then, I heard you guys speak about community of metal designers with Shindy. That was such an important place. I miss it now. I just can't, because there was a while, I joined it when it was already a group, but it's quite small. The people that were running it were accepting every single person ever, like band dudes, random dudes, anyone, then me. And I think a couple others, which definitely included like Echographic, Guillaume in France. I think that there was kind of some others. I think Maxwell helped a little bit too. But we overhauled the whole group. We removed everyone that wasn't an artist or a designer, and we only let artists and designers in from then. So it's a small group, tight knit. And I think I loved it back then. I loved how many people have appreciated it since. And it's kind of got it. New people are taking control now, and it's still going. And I think it's so awesome that it's done so much for people. I could never imagine that. Is how Hired Guns found me.
Yeah, Richard, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it's so cool. I think I even touched on it with Shindy. I got very deep into it around COVID as well, because you're sitting at home all day. Your life transitions online. But I met so many awesome people through it. Like, shout outs obviously would be like you, Shindy, Guillaume, Angel at Avenged Creations. That dude is...
Yeah, Angel's kind of a big runner for community metal designers now. I love how into it he is.
Yeah, he mods now, does he? Is he admin?
I think he's admin. Yeah, pretty certain. I probably made him admin. So
Nice. But yeah,
years ago.
Wappenschmied as well, Dominic, absolute legends.
Yeah, again, probably one of my top like 5 like logo designers and artists.
Yeah,
I hope you get him on here at some point.
I would love to chat to him.
He's brilliant. One of some of the cleanest work I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's so nice. It's like I definitely my whole appreciation of like, you know, the industry or the art form, as well as my, you know, skills were elevated by that group, and just the networking as well. I think it's you know that term, it's like a rising tide lifts all ships. I think it's very important like that. Like, let's face it, we all have a pretty cool job. Like, let's work together to, like, you know, help each other out and stuff. It's absolutely awesome. Well, what do you reckon? Shall we jump into my first little...
Why do you want to start talking about other stuff?
Yeah, I think I'll happily talk to you all day. It's been nice to finally, you know, shoot the shit after knowing each other for a good while. So my first couple of questions here.
Absolutely meet you IRL one day. That will happen. I will make sure of it.
Here's hoping, dude.
I will have a beer with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe catch the acacia strain sometime. That'd be so good.
Yeah.
So my first little question I have here is, can you tell us a little bit about your background in art, how you first got interested in graphic design, and what inspired you to specialize in, you know, metal graphic design? Was there a specific moment or artist that kicked off your journey?
Yeah, okay. So I want to I think when it came to like really seeing like logos, like metal logos, and I'm going to say this now, it's not because I got like other stuff on the other bit, but like everyone else, I saw them glorious glorification channels on YouTube, or like the speed arts, and I was like, I want to do that. And at first I tried to do that, and like I think so many people did, and then they'll like copy his style, and then eventually paved their own way. And I remember I sent him this massive message, like years and years and years, maybe like 2016 it could have been now, when I started 2015, I was in school, and it was like, I can't believe I expected like people to like respond to all these questions I had. It was kind of ridiculous, but you know, we talk now, which is awesome, and I think people stop trying to copy his style. But he was kind of what made me want to be like, oh, people take metal logos seriously, like people do this. But what I think started for me was like in school, I was definitely the kid that, you know, was drawing the band logos on his books, you know. Yeah. And I remember one of my science teachers picked up my book and he was like, "Who are Miss May I?" And I was like, "They're a band, sorry, sir." I was drawing their logo on my book because it looks cool.
Yeah.
And then I just kind of started drawing lots of jagged letters, and I was managing a lot of my, like a bunch of my friends made a band. I don't do instruments, but I wanted to be involved, so I kind of managed them and did all of their artwork, and it was school, so it's pretty rough, but I made my first metal logo there, which I can definitely like show you.
Oh yes, please.
That was where I started to make all my kind of dark art and stuff, and like I was always drawing in my classes and just making metal logos, but that's kind of what kicked it off, and then eventually it went from there.
So did you then decide, say after like in school and you're working with your mates' bands and, you know, getting your teeth in on the YouTube videos and stuff, did then you decide to pursue graphic design in college?
Yeah, so in school, I was like, I'm just going to make a Facebook page. Glorious Glorification has a Facebook page. Oh, and Consume.
Yeah, Consume.
Alexander, he was again the videos that are on YouTube. There was a couple others. I can't really remember their names. I could probably find them. But those speed arts, I was like, and these people had like YouTube, Facebook pages. So I was like, I'll do the same. Mm-hmm. And this was in school. So I've been incredibly lucky that because I started doing this when I was passionate and a kid in school, that then I could continue it in college. And eventually, it was my friends' bands for a $5 at first. And then eventually it was like clients in Australia that that a Facebook group had somehow seen that I posted in, and like they'd send me like 10 Australian dollars, which is like literally £2. It's not that bad, but it's rough. And it just kind of builded from there. And like college, I don't really remember how stable I was at college, but by the time I had to actually start paying rent, have a job, I'd already had a small client base. So I was really, really lucky that I just started passionate and young. So that's definitely some advice. The younger you are, you start this, to like learn the really strange ins and outs. The earlier, the better.
I love that. Like, I actually got an email, I think I posted in the community of metal designers about it, that a mother, her son is like 12 or 11. Yeah. And she reached out to me being like, oh, is there any advice? Like, he really wants to do this. And I sent her like all of my assets, all of my fonts. I was just like, yes, good parenting, like encouragement.
Yeah.
Did you also see the Imperial Triumphants t-shirt that Night Shift merch are putting out? It's like drawn by like a 10-year-old kid.
No, I don't think I've seen that yet.
It's so cool. I'll flash that up on the screen as well. I'll send it to you. It's really awesome. Did you find that like studying in design, did you have like, say business management class or anything like that? Did you find that like helped you go in freelance? Because you went straight in freelance like straight after college, didn't you?
Yeah, essentially. But that was just because I wasn't lucky enough to have a client base by that age. And then by the time when it was going to uni, I then would have student finance, so it was kind of quite easy.
Yeah.
But I originally went to study graphic design at college. I was so miserable for about 2 weeks because they wanted me to do like this really like petty stuff and like not what I wanted. And I just couldn't hack it. I was like, screw this. It's too much hassle. It's too hard for something I don't want to do. And I don't want to do a whole year of this before it's like, now you can start thinking about what you actually want to do. And even then they'd probably still cage me so much.
Yeah.
So I left there. I studied just a general media course somewhere else because I thought it would be like a lot easier. It's a bit more generalized. I was very stubborn there, so I kind of tailored most things around art and kind of finding a way to like get involved with that. And because this college was far more laid back, I was able to put all of my spare time into client work. And like back then, if I got a message from somebody and they paid me their deposit at like 1 a.m, and I was up, I was like, I'm starting your logo right now because I was excited.
Yeah.
And just wanted to earn that money, I'd be like, yeah, now I know I can go out with my friends tomorrow and maybe spend a little bit more, like, or buy something. It was so exciting to be like, even when I made a $5 from making a logo, I was like, wow, that feels incredible.
Yeah. Like,
and I take it for granted now, but it was so cool back then.
Yeah, it's like that. It's a different feeling from like, like I worked in like supermarkets and stuff through school and all, but like once I started to create like, logos or t-shirt designs for bands that I was mates with, or, I was doing work for my own bands as well, but, working for other people and getting paid for it and seeing them happy for it, you get this like feeling of like accomplishment. It's like I am on the road to being self-sufficient. It's absolutely deadly. But I was gonna ask, like, because you're 100% probably the most like versatile designer in the scene. You bounce back and forth from like the tech metal sort of look to like really like brutal slamming logos to like cut and paste punk stuff. Really clean vectors. I've seen some logos you've done that have almost been like sports style, like almost like esports like logos and stuff. Like, did you learn how to do all this stuff yourself just by pure determination? Did you kind of like...
Yeah.
Go ahead, sorry.
I'm going to be honest, like, like, I wish I could be like, nah, school, uni, college kind of made me explore my skills. But to be honest, no, they told me to do their brief and I was like, I don't want to do this. I want to do everything else I want to do.
Yeah.
So like, I just like saw so many areas of design that I want to tap into and like learn and just explore, I guess. I have so much fun doing different things. Like it's like a double-edged sword, because especially with like social media growth now, I don't really have a style. Most people can see my work and be like, Kai did that, which is wild to me. But like nobody sees my pages and like, oh, this dude has a consistent style, we're going to follow him for that. They just kind of see all this stuff. And I feel like it's a bit overwhelming, but I do like knowing that a lot of clients, different type of clients, can come to me and I can be like, yeah, I could probably sort you out. And I know the things I can't do. Like, I'm like, do not ask me to do a website, because I don't want to, and I don't want to learn ever to make a website. But other than that, like, yeah, I just kind of wanted to learn things.
I think that's a very valuable trait to have as well. Like, you will take on work in almost any style that you're comfortable with, but you also know when to pass it on. For example, I had the band came to me for album art, and they sent me the brief. And as much as I wanted to do it, I was like, guys, I'm going to be honest. I think you're going to be in better hands with like Kalen. You know, I was like, here's his email, get onto him. And when I saw the artwork that he did, I was like, he absolutely killed it. So it's like it's quite hard. Sometimes you're like, I really want to do this. You know, I really want to do it, but I'm probably not the best person. You know, sometimes it's...
I've been there telling people like, I'm not the guy for the job. I wish I was. I really do, but it's not me.
It's kind of difficult, isn't it? But
yeah.
What do you reckon? Should we jump on to the next little question I have here?
Yeah, go for it.
So can you share some challenges you faced when starting out in the metal art worlds and how you overcame them?
Yeah. So yeah, the first thing I thought of here was this little funny one. So PayPal. When I was like most people would use PayPal, I was obviously underage when I was using it, and eventually you get to amount, it might have been like, oh, you've earned like a couple hundred now, you need to maybe like, and this is like overall, this isn't like within a month or something, there might have been something like that. This was like, oh, you've actually earned maybe a certain amount of money, you need to like verify that you're like your age, your details, all of this stuff. I was like, yeah, no worries, here's my ID, here's that. And they were like, Dean, mate, see you later.
No way.
And I was like, oh, I'm so stupid. So they cancelled that account. I did get my money from it. And then I had to make another one and just kind of pretend, or like I think for a while I was using like my mum's PayPal. I was like, can you send it to my mum? And then she'd send it to me and stuff, or like sometimes a friend. Until I was old enough, and they'd never let me have that account back. They were like,
no way. So there was a limit on it, was there?
Yeah, I can't really remember what it was, and I'm not going to be able to find it. But yeah, without proving that you're a real person and stuff, you can't like receive too much money.
Yeah, that's absolutely crazy.
I get it, but it just sucked.
Yeah. That's mental. I would never have even thought of that, because I was 18 by the time I started working on commissions and stuff. So I didn't even know that, but it makes sense though, because like a minor can't really operate a financial account unless it's...
No.
Yeah.
I was just like, give me my silly little money for my silly little logo.
Yeah.
Like,
I want to buy sweets. Come on.
It's not that deep. Yeah. Like maybe some shoes. I don't know.
Yeah.
Band tees.
Few
That's what I get about them. Yeah, exactly. But other challenges, being taken seriously, that was so hard. Like, so little people would see the work that like us lot were doing and be like, oh yeah, that's cool. They'd be like, you can't read that, it's a waste of time.
Yeah.
I'm like, nah, this is a thing. Like, trust me. And I've taken that attitude my whole life. I've never let anyone like kind of talk me down in my work. I'm like, look, I know if I put out bad work, my work's sick, like, and there is even when it wasn't, I'm working towards being sick and like being just doing what I want. So I think having that attitude towards the people that aren't going to take you seriously, like shut them down, screw them. And I remember my uni tutor, when I was like applying for uni and I showed him my work, he was like, this is not the kind of stuff I see when people apply for uni, but like, this is interesting because I think we're going to learn from each other here. And like, I was quite abrasive at uni because I was doing different stuff, and I don't want to toot my own horn, but like, my uni was very small. It was like a glorified college of like, it ended up like 6 people by the end of it. Yeah, but the whole time I was like, I'm going to do my messy, gritty, textured work, and you're going to suck it up. And I'm going to, and you know, at uni, they're like, as long as you can justify it, but they would like bite their tongue and grit their teeth every time I could justify it. And I was too stubborn to let them like have their way. I was like, no, I'm going to make like gritty stuff, and you're going to deal with it. So yeah, just give everyone the F you attitude and keep doing cool stuff.
That's a very open-minded tutor to really say, like, I don't know what this is, but I would like to understand it.
Yeah. Big up my man Paul Crowley.
Legend. Because I didn't have that experience at all, really. Like, as I kind of touched on earlier, like we had like our year tutor, and then we had like, say, 8 modules with 8 different lecturers, and like none of them except our photography teacher really liked or understood what I was doing. I even got in one of our classes, I think it was like our Viscom class, we had a typography project, and I used are you aware of Gaspar Noé, the French director?
Yes.
Like Enter the Void.
Enter the Void, yeah, I watched that recently. Crazy.
Oh, okay.
Holy crap.
So if you see, you know, the title credits and that, when it's like all the like strobe lights, and it's like, yeah, he like cut out, or it wasn't him, but the graphic designer like cut out tinfoil letters and like put them in a bath and like jigged them up with like a car battery, and it was running like electricity through them and stuff. And even that, my teacher, like she all she really liked was, you know, like the Wes Anderson style like twee graphic design and all. And we had a project, and I was like showing the class all this and all, and she didn't even understand that, you know. I think it's such a shame, like, because that's like genuinely exciting design. They're like kinetic typography. And I think sometimes, you know, if you become like a teacher of design, you need to stay up to date with trends and have a little bit of like research and understanding of stuff that isn't just, you know, flat design.
There are so many dinosaurs in graphic design, whether it's your teachers, whether it's like other people, and as long as you've like really thought about like why you're doing what you're doing it, or even if it's just like an artistic kind of a push, because it's art really at the end of the day. It's not, doesn't have to no, I'm not going to get into the topic between art and visual communication. That's too much. But there are too many dinosaurs in design, and just, you know, don't listen to them. I haven't, because they just don't know what's like actually effective anymore.
Yeah, I think also there's a certain type of person like us that wants to get into, say, like metal design or dark art, that like we kind of march in a different beat. And when you're like sort of outside the mainstream, you have to stick to your guns in order to legitimize yourself and to legitimize your art form. And as you said, like, in order for people to take you seriously, you have to take yourself seriously, don't you?
Yeah.
And that's not to say you don't have to be like a douchebag. You know, you can be confident.
I think that's kind of what I've been. I'm not confrontational, but like I've said this whole time, I just told people I'm going to do what I want, and they'll listen. But I did it nicely.
Yeah, absolutely. So what you reckon? Shall we move on to the next question, or you have anything else to say? Okay, cool. How would you describe your artistic style, and what are some key elements or themes that you often incorporate into your designs? Now, this is kind of a loaded one because, as I said, you're the most versatile designer in the scene by far.
Yeah, when I was looking at this question, I was like, I'm going to think about the stuff that, you know, like really drives me rather than the stuff that's for people. I still enjoy doing most of what I do, but it's like the stuff I like, we both know we love visual noise. We love our texture. We love our grit. That's kind of why we connected so easily. So it's like, you know, gritty, ambiguity, like those things to me, I think are so important with art, and being able to make that visual communication, like make weird, gritty, ambiguous stuff be art. Like that's just really fun to me. Themes. That was part of the question, right?
Yeah.
You know, I definitely love my industrial stuff. I've always admired industrial design. And I think it's because so much of it is done for function, and you just see like brutalist stuff, and this just isn't just architecture, but like stuff done for function is always brutalist. I think that's so cool, and being able to mess up that with like ambiguity is just, it makes my brain go brr. Sci-fi and stuff, I mean, you can kind of tell from the books behind me. But I'm also trying to get a bit more in touch with like traditional methods. Like when I was in school, I hated gluing and sticking and stuff. When the teachers wanted me to collage, I was like, "God,
not for me.
Let me use the MacBook." And then now, my favorite thing is getting hands-on and like buying books and like just tearing them apart and putting them down, scanning them, doing all of that. Like, multimedia and all of that. That's fun, messy stuff.
Yeah, I saw the beautiful work you did with I think it was like an amberleaf tobacco packet, where you like cut out like the warnings and stuff. Like that is absolutely awesome. Did you cut apart the cigarette box and then like arrange it and scan it in and then treat it digitally? Is that it?
Yeah. Give me like 1 second.
Of course.
Just crawling around my room like a gremlin. So yeah, I've actually got all the pieces.
Here. Sick.
Yeah, I don't smoke cigarettes, but I was like, my housemates did, and I just love all the gross packaging. So what started it for me is I opened the bin and I saw the teeth one on the top of all the like the mess in the bin.
Gnarly.
I was like, that is gnarly. Yeah, I need to do something with that. So I just cut it up, scanned it in, and went to town.
I think there's something extra that, you know, the cut and paste, arranging, or even just like, you know, just scanning your own textures and stuff. It really adds quite a lot to purely digital work, you know. Like it's like the blending of the two. It's so nicely done. And I love how you say. Sorry, go ahead.
Something I forgot to say was authenticity, and I think it kind of ties in with like, you know, making your own textures and like doing that kind of work to be like, I'm making textures on here that are my own, nobody else has them, and they have a reason to be there, they have the context. And every time I apply texture, I'm really trying to think about, would that texture be there, how would that work? And it's why I got really annoyed at seeing, you know, when like the vinyl wrap texture was blowing up,
and the plastic
on everyone. So I still like that texture, but I think people were just throwing it on things that doesn't make sense. I'm like, there wouldn't be that wouldn't be in like a plastic wrap. Like, don't put it there because it makes no sense. Like, and it's a weird one because I'm all about ambiguity, but at the same time there are rules, and I think you need to know the rules before you can break them.
Exactly.
And that is so important with texture, because you're like, I'll see people do stuff that I'm kind of like, I don't want to critique it, but like that doesn't work like that. And I just want people's work to kind of be like, I guess, authentic too. So when I see other designers that I see pay attention to details like that, I'm like, big up, that's hard work.
Yeah, it's something I see even in your logo work. Like when you have, say, like, you know, the typical sort of like slammy death metal logo with like drips and stuff like that. Like, it's something that I think about a lot as well, is like the drips should sort of react in the way they would in the real world to gravity, you know? And like, even attention to detail. And like, we see a lot of like, you know, the symmetrical kind of slammy deathy logos around. But something I think designers fall down on a lot is like their letter forms, like width and like even like spacing and stuff. That's something you've like mastered. Like every single logo, no matter how brutal it is, each letter looks like it's part of the same alphabet, you know? And that's the kind of...
Same to you.
Cheers, mate. I'm definitely not nowhere near your level on it, but like the way
Pack it in.
you kind but the way you kind of think about it is like, if it's supposed to look horrible, but it should also look correct. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of, I think, a really good way to kind of just summarize probably both of our work, you know? You're like, horrible, but correct.
Yeah. And again, when you said like, you know, you need to learn the rules before you break them, I think that's a real big thing as well. Because you see like a lot of new designers, they might be jumping in at the deep end and just trying out this like crazy technical stuff without really having a grasp of, you know, what to do with these elements or like how to kind of piece things together. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. That's a fantastic way to learn.
Yeah,
it is.
And I definitely, actually, oh, sorry, you go.
Oh no, I was just saying it is something that's like very important, I think, especially even from a visual communication point of view, because we are working in commercial art in a sense of like our commission work has a function. You know, it's supposed to like brand certain projects, or if it's like layout design, which I love your layout work for Wax Vessel. Maybe that's something we can get into in a bit. But there's a very particular reason and job that design has. It's supposed to like get a message across, or to be like digested by like a fan or a viewer in a particular way. And you knock it out of the park. Like everything, I was scrolling through your Instagram and like you just knock it out of the park in like every single project. I know it sounds like I'm blowing smoke up your arse, and I kind of am, but like it's so good, dude.
Thank you. Yeah, I can't really thank you enough, to be honest.
Your branding really, like your personal branding, really struck me from like very early on. Like how you owned the caution tape, you know, that yellow and black. Like there's something about there's something about black and yellow that it's like, maybe it's kind of like nature's warning tape, you know, like wasps and bees and all, but like it's you know, it strikes you so quick. And when I'd see like you had that sort of like layout, oh yes, dude, you own that emoji, you know, like
I do that. Yeah, I actually like, I love when people brand themselves with like I guess it's like the digital age like of branding now, like or like the digital age it started ages ago, but like the current one is like, you've got emojis, use them. I use yellow hearts. You use your swords.
The swords. Yeah,
like it's, and if I'm like ever helping people with branding, I'm like, pick an emoji. It's really fun. Pick your color of heart. Even like different friends of mine, if we're sending hearts to each other, like they're green or they're a black one, and I love that everyone gets to kind of pick their little quirks like that. I feel very cool that I have kind of owned the like industrial hazard tape thing, because a lot of people do use it, and a lot of people like know it's me, and I'm like, I can't believe that I've made a mark enough for so many people to be like, nah, that's Kai's thing.
And it's such a good color scheme as well, like, because kind of, as I was saying, maybe it's something in nature that we're like ingrained to see like black and yellow and be like, oh shit, you know, like what is that? Because you're scrolling through Instagram like back in the day, and I'd like instantly, like my phone would just like light up yellow and black, and there'd be this like gnarly logo, and I'd be like, that's Kai. Like straight away.
My old branding, when I had the like hazard line top and bottom texture, like I do miss that stuff, but I just think a simple feed now is my way forward. But it's mad, like my posts were so striking.
And even your Instagram, the way you have it laid out, like you put so much thought into it, you know, you've got like the triple bounding boxes per like kind of project, or you have like blocks of like, you know, 9 or 12 in like a certain, like maybe, you know, like you'll have white logos on a black background for like 9 boxes, and then below that you'll have some like more layout work and more colorful work and stuff. Like that's such a incredible attention to detail and like, you know, thought out visual like branding for yourself. Like it's so nicely done. It's another one of those double-edged swords that like really do me in, because I'm like, my feed looks great, but it's so annoying to plan my posts the way I do it. And I've got a bunch planned and saved. I just haven't had
the effort to like write all my captions, do my hashtags, all of that. But the way I do that is it's a big Photoshop document. It's got all its grids, and I'll like either use the slices feature, which I need to try and do a bit more, or like just kind of crop the squares and save them as is. And the guides obviously automatically get the marquee tool to be where you need. And that way you can see it all laid out before you post it. And I even have a test Instagram account if I'm ever not too sure about things, where I'll just post it and be like, how's that look? But I'd absolutely advise that for people if you want to do like the kind of split feed thing. Make a big Photoshop document. It's so handy.
Well, what do you reckon, dude? I've got another little question here, and this is more sort of about like bands or like a logo or artwork that you saw that really like, you know, had like a massive impact on you. Like, is there a particular like design or even artist sort of influenced your work? You might have touched on it a little bit earlier, but was there one that kind of was like, I need to do this now?
Yeah, see, I remember thinking about this one, and I think it was only like the early inception for me. It was like, yeah, consume and glorious glorification. But I think other than that, sadly, like not really. Like I just kind of saw cool things and was like, I want to do that. And I actually thought about this one an hour before coming on. I was like, actually, Slipknot artwork was probably a really, like, I was in, and again, like, I don't want to sound edgy, but I think I was like in year 5, and that was when I was like Slipknot rule.
Yeah.
I was also listening to like James Morrison, I think that's his name, and like Alvin and the Chipmunks, but also Slipknot was sick. And I draw the masks and the silly little S logo, the tribal one, that's like all over the place. And I think even their album art, that like gritty, gross style, even though I didn't explore album artwork until like way later in my career, it still definitely like kind of influenced a lot of what I've done. And to be honest, probably a lot of new metal in general has influenced my work without knowing it, just because they've kind of got that style of like kind of gritty, silly so well.
Like I see a lot of also say like influence from manga and anime. Would you consider that like a big inspiration?
Yeah, it was a late one for me. Like I think I watched Death Note when I was in like secondary school and was like, yeah, that was cool. I've seen an anime, whatever, and I like moved on and didn't really watch much. And then like years later, like I eventually watched Akira, and I was like, hold on,
boom,
this is the shit. And then I was like, no, I just need to find the right anime. And to be honest, I've watched Death Note again. Death Note's brilliant. But other than that, I've got a really niche taste in manga and anime. I think some Berserk. We got the rest.
Oh, yes.
I'll move the books there because I'm a little poser. But there's like a really small selection. But I really like a lot of sci-fi, old like 80s, 90s anime because that just like looks so good.
Yeah, 90s aesthetic is like, oh.
I'm really looking forward to looking through this book. Not that I can do this kind of stuff, but like it just looks really cool.
Yeah, that looks delish.
But I think a lot of that is like the tone and atmosphere that like that kind of conveys. There's so much like to pull from, like Neon Genesis. That's
yes,
that's so important to me as well. But it's, you know, it's industrial, it's sci-fi, it's cyberpunk, it's gritty, it's ambiguous. So much of it uses, and this isn't just Neon Genesis, this is a lot of anime of the time, like has so much like passion and good like mental health stuff in it. It's really cool stuff. So yeah, manga. I actually recently scanned a bunch more of my like Akira books for one of my mates. I was like, oh, I need to do more with like my mate, the scans and stuff because they're good fun.
Oh, dude, that just reminded me of that Akira piece you did, the yellow and black one, the good for health, bad for education, and it had like the nuke going off.
Speaking of, I should send you a bunch of my stickers. Was it this one?
Yes, yeah. 100%.
Yeah, so this is obviously inspired by Post Malone's Beer Bongs and Bentleys, you know.
Oh, nice.
An incredibly... have you got this, Rick? Do you like Post Malone?
I don't really listen to him. That's
honestly,
so cool.
His graphic design, his team, I've like followed them all.
Whoa.
But it's incredible. Like, you've got to have a look at this, man. But that's kind of why I went for this. So that would be like beer bongs and Bentleys, and the heart is like little pills. Yeah, I love this design. I wish I could like do more with it. I did have it on my Redbubble and they removed it. But because of Post Malone, it's inspired by it, but it does say, oh, you can't see it. It does say Post Malone in this micro text. Because I put it in like the hashtags and stuff. If I didn't do that, it would have been fine.
It wouldn't have got flagged.
Nah, because I mean, if anything, it's Akira. Like, this has taken design cues and inspired. Well, it is like a rip, but it's not enough for them to kind of remove it. Because I put Post Malone, they can be like, nah.
Oh no! So it didn't get flagged for the Akira like illustration.
Mm.
It got flagged because it was paying tribute to Post Malone's design style. That is so mental.
But I think like this image, like the explosion, is so iconic that you cannot tie it down.
No. The first time I seen it, before, like I had watched Akira the movie, but I hadn't like been aware like the manga or anything. And this amazing hardcore band called Deal With It, I think they're from Leeds. They were definitely a UK hardcore band about 2008, and they put out a t-shirt with that graphic on it and their logo over the top. And I was like, that's the sickest t-shirt I've ever seen. But I had no idea it was from the Akira manga at all. Yeah, there we go.
There it is, the OG image. Like,
it's just insane. It's so good. Even like the amount of detail that he puts into like all the sort of body horror biomechanical stuff, like did that sort of inspire you as well? Like that more, is that sort of mechanical cyberpunky sort of feeling?
Yeah, obviously I'm like not much of an illustrator, and I'm like trying to stretch my legs a lot more with that, and I like do dabble, but it's definitely all of that like biomech stuff is inspired. It's just I can't really act on too much of it unless it's within like type or like different kinds of artwork. I think that's why I do a lot of multimedia, because I'm able to use different strengths and weaknesses to kind of still bring my other influences into my work. Because I don't want to just draw a crappy drawing and be like, yeah, that'll do, because I can't.
Yeah, it's the same with me. Like I haven't really drawn anything other than letters in like maybe 4 or 5 years. There I've just got like, just like really stupid hex codes and like, oh, this is how I'm gonna lay this out in the most like scratchy way possible. But I kind of
that's good. I should do that. But
sometimes I just like, if I'm sitting at home watching TV after dinner with the missus, like I'll just be like, oh, I'll have an idea and I'll just scribble it down, because if I don't, like my head is like a sieve. If I don't do that, I'll just forget about it.
Yeah.
Or like my notes in my phone as well,
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I'm such a note tabber. I'm always writing my city art ideas. Sometimes I'll like not write it with enough like detail, and then I'll go back to it a week later and I'm like, what the fuck did I just, what does that mean?
Yeah. Trying to decipher the hieroglyphics.
Yeah.
So I've got another little question here, kind of leads on a little bit like on the topic of tools and paintbrushes. But what tools or software do you primarily use for your design work, and why might you prefer them?
Yeah, so obviously I am, well, not obviously, but sadly I am an Adobe kid, like most of us, like just because it's worked out so far. When I was younger, I was obviously like not paying for it. But yeah, it's just annoyingly it is the standard, but I don't think that you have to at all. I just think that because it's all I know, it's what I use now. I really, really want to try and learn some other stuff. I think I want to get into 3D soon anyway. And
nice.
I mean, especially with AI, I kind of want to combat that my own way and learn how to do 3D stuff. And I think it could be really helpful in my artwork. Though I'm not going to do any of those boring, old, like...
Oh, the cyberpunk girls?
Yeah, like on every single metalcore band or like gent band, like there are really good uses of them, and I think that they're like the most general figure of a person that are just like smooth, bold,
like a mannequin almost.
Yeah, and I've seen people do it really well, but I also see a lot of people like just not, but they're probably learning. So like, I'm not here to like, I don't want to sound like a dick, but I just don't want to, I want to try not to do that, I guess. But other than like the Adobe suite, I guess it's more like different stuff like cameras, scanners, like actual different equipment. I think whatever tool you can use to like make something, whether it's software, hardware, anything, use it.
Yeah.
Like recently I got out my old family's like digital camera, turned the quality down, like just to make like crappy looking liminal pictures. And I think if you put I put my finger over the flash, and if it's dark, it essentially makes it red because it's going through the skin of your like finger. And I'm like seeing that result and seeing you actually put in a red filter over something with the skin of your finger, like that was so cool. So yeah, whatever silly tools you can think of, use them. This is like just advice to everyone. Who cares what's the industry standard? Just make cool shit when you're cool shit. Yeah, I would definitely advise a scanner. Buying a £60 printer scanner was the best decision I've ever made in my graphic design career.
I got you probably can't see it. It's just one of those Canon Piximas. I think it was like €90. Yeah. It's perfect.
I got like a HP Envy. It's the only one I've ever had. I think it's covered in, it says yes in it on like a label maker.
I love that. Yes. I love that as well. I've seen a few logos you've made with the Dino is that what they're called? Dino label maker?
Yeah. I really want to get one of the old mechanical ones, because in uni some kid in the year below me was like had a real metal one that like clamped them in.
Yeah,
like, that's amazing. I've only got like the 20 quid plastic ones.
Same with me.
But I don't want to use fonts, a lot of the time. So got buying a label maker, and I use it for like actually label making things like my spice jars, or like now that I do some film photography and I archive it all in folders. Yeah, I love a label maker. Brilliant tool.
Have you seen the designer Hale Founders on Instagram?
Yeah. I think we followed each other recently.
I've kind of been following Hale Founders for a good while, and I've been keeping up with his work. And I always thought that he was like using Photoshop, but then he started putting out reels maybe the last year or so, and he's using an iPad with Procreate. And he's
that as well.
Yeah, he's a photo manipulator as well. So like, I didn't realize that. I thought Procreate was like purely just like a kind of like Sketchbook, or is that what it's called? Sketchbook Pro. That sort of like drawing software. But like, you must be able to do so much more with it. And it goes back to what you're saying, that like, use whatever tool you have. Because I think Procreate is just like a one-time buy for like 20 quid or something. Rather than
maybe I really need to get an iPad, because it will help me like draw more, and like clearly they're useful. And the fact that like seeing the work he's been doing on an iPad, like it's viable as hell.
I kind of want to get one as well, but like just they're so I was looking at the new iPad Pros, and I thought they were going to be like maybe 900 or $1,000 or something, and it's like I think it's like $2,000 for like the 64 gig one or something. And I was like,
yeah, that's a computer.
Yeah, it is. It's a nice computer.
Exactly.
So just moving on there, can you walk us through your creative process when you're working on a new project? Like, how do you generate ideas and bring them to life? And I've noticed as well, like you're so involved in like not just design. You've got like your photography stuff. You've got like your streetwear kind of brands and stuff. Like, is there a set way that you will tackle almost every project, or does it change as you go?
Yeah, I think there's a huge divide here between like my personal work and my like client work. Obviously, usually clients coming to me telling me what they want. Sometimes they do not tell me what they want, and that's always the worst.
That's the worst. Yeah.
With clients, it's like, I'll listen to what they have to say. I'll take that on board. I'll make like my Pinterest mood board. I'll do it maybe I'll do some sketches. I'm not much of a sketcher. It's a pretty simple process, but I think the personal side of things, when I'm not being told like what like I wanted to do, it's way more interesting. Like, I'm going to be pulling everything from my emotions, everything from my feelings and my interests. And to be honest, I just kind of work at things until I'm happy with them. Like, because I only have to like, when it's only my own standards and my own tastes, it means I can just do whatever and hopefully people like it. So yeah, my own emotions, I guess, like, but with all the like kind of other side things I do, yeah, I guess as goofy as it sounds, it's just passion really. Like there's not really like repetitive processes. It's just do what works, how when I want to kind of do it.
That's good. There's like an amazing quote that one of my mates, his name is Funeral. He's like a great artist. He said something amazing, and it was art. No. He said art is like taking a piss. Inspiration strikes, and you just have to get it out. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Like I feel so bad. Like if I'm ever, you know, like hanging out with my partner, and I want to like. Got an idea. And I'm like, do you want to have? Should we have a little scroll on a laptop? Should we have a little break? And like, I'll be just, you know, doing some stuff, and just because, yeah, if you don't do it, it's gonna leave your mind.
Yeah, I've got such a
The notes tab can't always do it.
Yeah, I like mine like when I read a lot of like hard sci-fi, even like audiobooks, like when I'm going to sleep, and like. Just like things will come up within like the stories, and I'm just like, you know, it's 2 a.m. and I'm like, grab my phone, pause the audiobook and like go into notes and just like write down incoherent nonsense. And then like, then once I finish commission work the next day, I'm like, all right, here we go. Time to jump into this. Like,
yeah, time to like, I think the fun stuff about that is your brain just switches off, you know, like you're in autopilot, but the best kind of autopilot to just like, be it here, to just like do what makes you happy.
Yeah. And it's nice being, it's sometimes, do you find it's tricky being your own critic as well? Like Shindy said an amazing thing that struck me last week. He said like personal art is like, it's never finished. You just set it aside. Do you find like you'll be a lot more critical of your personal stuff than, you know, when you have like a client brief, you kind of hit the ones and twos, and then the client is like, okay, that's cool. There's obviously none of that with your own personal creative work. Like, how do you decide that you're done?
Yeah, it's a 50-50 because like some work is like I've done and it will be sat on for ages and I'm just like never happy with it, and eventually I'll probably get there, but it like stuff has been in my folders for years that I haven't touched for years, but I do want to keep like it kind of stays like in the back of my head a lot of the time. But I'm also, and then on the flip side, I'm just kind of so I have an idea in my head, and when I get to it and when I'm happy with it, like it sends all the signals firing, and you're like, oh no, this is it. I'm so happy with this right now. So it's like if I ever want to, like I very rarely post like little screenshot teasers of my work, but I know when I've posted like a little tease that I am like, this might not be out for months, but I'm so excited about it. I've just got to get it out there.
Yeah.
And I'll be finding whoever I can to show, like my partner. I'm always like, look what I made. Look what I made. Do you like it? Because I'm like, people might not see this for months, and I tend to be very like not too critical of my work for myself because I think I just know what I want to do. But I'm actually more critical of the work I make for clients because I guess I get that imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh, I hope I've done what you want because that's what I want to do. And very rarely I've had like altercations with clients where like I can't do what they want and we just can't figure it out. I've really only had one bad one. Yeah, it's client work that I get way more critical over. But I did enjoy the G Drive story from episode 1 because I've been there. That's me too.
Yeah, it's such an affliction, isn't it? Like,
yeah, I think it made me giggle so much because I'm like, the fact that we were all putting it on G Drive too. I'm like, it's actually so. Have you ever tried to save I don't know what phone you have. I have an iPhone, but saving photos from G Drive on an iPhone, and if someone has a better way to do it, please put it in the comments.
Really?
But like you have to hold the picture to save it. So you'll scroll out because this is how I get my photography to my phone unless I like airdrop it. You have to like scroll, hold save. You can't click like download and save on an iPhone, and I don't know why.
Oh, really?
And if I'm missing somewhere, I would love somebody to fill me in. But yeah, it's so annoying.
That kind of leads me into my next little question. Was just going on from that. Like, have you ever faced any periods of, say, like artistic stagnation or lack of inspiration? And if so, you know, how do you kind of climb back out of that hole and get the ball rolling again?
Yeah. If I'm honest, I've kind of been in and out of that for the past couple of years. And it's really strange because like I love what I do, and when I like get working, I'm enjoying it. But like I've been like this weird kind of like depressed recently where I just kind of like don't want to work.
Yeah.
And I think it's because, and this is going to get a little deep, but hopefully it pays off. My whole life, I've never had financial stability. Like, yeah, I said how I was lucky enough to be like working with clients from a young age. That was because like I didn't get money from parents. I didn't get like anything, you know, like, you know, maybe I get like, you know, £3 pocket money here and there. But other than that, it was like I needed to make my own path so I could actually earn money. So I have never had a job and I've never had financial stability. So it's like, again, so happy that I can do this work, but I've never been guaranteed the money I've ever had. Like it's so hard to say no to work because I'm like, I don't have something to fall back onto. Like I've got money saved for if I like, you know, so I can make sure I've got like at least a couple months worth of rent. So if I know I'm going to like, if I know something's going to fuck up, I've got at least a couple months warning to be like, I need to sort some shit out. And I think because of never having like that stability, I'm looking to maybe, even though like I'm fine, but I think I want like a part-time job so I can just know that I can have some stability and be more picky with my art. And I kind of thought, and like no shade here, but I thought Hired Guns would kind of do that for me. But sadly, because like I'm not a big illustrator, my roles in there like aren't as big as some of the other people, like Tim and Richard. So the stuff I do, like I can't be that picky still. I kind of have to take on what I can get. But I'm like, yeah, no, I think I need to try and get a job so I can just experience something else, not my whole life be focused around art, because it does burn me out.
Yeah.
And it's like I kind of have to rely on my personal passionate things to kind of get me in the mood and be like, right, let's design, because you know, the last thing I want to do is give people bad work, and I never let it happen on purpose, you know. So yeah, I'm in a bit of a burnout, and that's kind of how I want to solve it. I also want to give my room a big like reorganize, get some new furniture going, and I think I want to do that at the end of this month because I don't feel comfortable working in my space right now.
Yeah.
And that is really important. So I'd advise people really put in as much effort, not necessarily money, but just make that space comfortable for you to work in, because you're going to be doing it a lot.
It's a hugely important point for anybody that might be considering becoming a freelance designer, like within any sort of sphere, but particularly in like the metal world or hardcore world, is that like not having a set wage, like weekly wage, it does stuff to you mentally, you know, like you, for example, like I can't imagine how I might ever, like a bank will ever look at me and look at my accounts and be like, yeah, we'll give you a mortgage, you know, because it's so it's so sporadic, you know.
You can have a month that you feel like you're balling, and at the end of the month you get to treat yourself so nicely.
Yeah.
But then you can have months where I'm like, I didn't earn enough for rent.
Yeah.
Like, and like that's fine because I've got my safety net, but like it can be like that.
Yeah.
And like I haven't had it too much, but it's happened, you know. It's part of the process, part of being in this field. So yeah, just be ready for that. But I also like I really need to take a break, and I think like this summer I'm gonna be like, right, no work for a month, because I've like yeah, we get to pick our own days as like freelance, but I can't remember the last time I had like a week off. I went to like Germany for like half a week, or like 5 days in February, and other than that it's the only like time off I feel like I've had since I've started. Like I could have an empty week, but it still means I'm scared, I'm worried. It's not, oh, I can comfortably take this time off.
Yeah.
So I just feel like I started in 2016 or whatever in school, and I haven't stopped since.
And it's been flat out.
Not to be ungrateful for what I've got, but yeah, I just think everyone should be aware of the pitfalls and the potential issues.
Yeah, I think it's very important and valuable to talk about stuff like this. You know, like we touched on your brain firing on all cylinders because you're always on.
Yeah.
But like a lot of my friends, like when they work their 9 to 5s, and then in the evenings they're done. They leave work at work. They leave work at work. Whereas we're kind of like, you know, it's kind of 24/7 because like a client can get onto you like anytime. You know,
and because we've been working with people internationally, like if you don't respond to people outside of work hours, you may never be able to respond to them ever.
Yeah.
And I'm getting better at like being like, right, I'm not going to reply to this until the next day and I'm at my desk. But it's still like you feel guilty for it. You feel like I could be missing a client. I could be like someone's waiting on me here, but I also need to respect myself.
It's really important. You have to, you know, look after your own sort of mental health, and like stress is kind of part of the job, but it's really bad for you. So it's kind of, we mentioned Wax Vessel there earlier. Not to deviate too much, but this is something I'd absolutely love to dig in to, because the variation in the work that you put out for Wax Vessel, it's absolutely beautiful. And I'd like to know, like, how do you work with? Is it Nick? Is that his name? How do you guys work? How do you guys work together? Do you have mainly like free reign? Sort of. How did that even come about in the first place? And
so he came to me. I think he'd had like his first like kind of branding and layout done, and I think maybe sometime later he was like, oh, I wanted to do like seasonal branding. So each season he changes it up, and he asked me to do this kind of like gritty Taco Bell inspired, like kind of vapory, gritty design and drinking game. Every time we say gritty, hot shot. Like you are going to be wrecked by the end.
Yeah, you'll be on the floor.
He kind of loved it like straight away and kind of, I guess, saw my potential there. And there was a lot of back and forth in this project, but he was very good at explaining to me kind of, he was like, you know, very specific, like maybe we could put something in this space to make this kind of be more balanced. And instantly it's like, yeah, you're not just being like, it's not, something's wrong with it and I don't know what. Like he's always able to be like, yeah, he's never the make it pop guy. He's like, and if he doesn't know, he's like, you know, he'll be honest with that and like, that's fine. It's not his job. But the back and forth is great because he is very like, I would say like hands-on, but like just good at feedback. And we kind of, that's the one I was looking for. And we like really like kind of know each other's work now. Well, not really work, but he knows my work and I know how he works. So he's able to quite like rely on me in a way. I think like we're just so good at working together because we kind of know what one another wants. Mm-hmm. But like with the seasonal layouts, usually it's either like Nick will have an idea or I'll have an idea and we'll like bring it to the table and we'll like spitball and chat about it. Sometimes I'm able to be like, I want to do this. Is that okay? And he's like, yeah, man. And then he loves it. And sometimes he comes to me with an idea and I'm like, I love that idea. Let's run it. With the layout, obviously it's a bit more like, first of all, obviously the artwork's already supplied, so I have to spat my laptop, like adapt to that. And he'll have ideas too, and we'll just kind of throw them at each other.
Because I love the variation you touched on, like the vaporwave kind of one that you did there. Like I've seen like a very sort of muted, techie, really solid like layout. Then the next one will be kind of, as we said, like the cut and paste sort of punk graphics, and there's something, but it's all the same brand, you know, like it's not just like a mishmash of random stuff. Like it's very direct and it's got like its own feeling, and I think it's just it's so nice to look at. Like,
cool, thank you. I think we've got a new one coming soon, and he's like, this time he had an idea. I'm really excited about it, so can't wait for that. That should be soon. But yeah, I feel like I'm sure me and Shindy like maybe have some other stuff with Wax Vessel. It might be like down the line, but obviously he did speak about this, the Cauldron one. Cauldron's such a good band too. And I like, you know, there wasn't too much layout for me to do on the back and front here. I really wanted, for this example, I really wanted to let his artwork breathe, and I was like, we're just going to put it on the side. Like, because I can't get in the way of Shindy, man. Like,
That's so nice.
you can't. It's and I know we were speaking in the previous one, you know, how intentional every line he is, but like in my head, I think one of the best illustrators out there, and he is going to go so far, and I cannot wait to see like what happens. But again, like the insert, quite simple. These are actually like cracks that I think I took on my phone and like would have like post-processed like and thresholded and that to kind of get it, but nothing too intense here. Quite simple, but it was so cool for me to finally have my work with Shindy's and, you know, have it in hand. Like, love it. And the records as well, like, it's insane. I can't believe that some of my work is on these just impeccable, well thought out records that have, again, and I love the way he kind of has identity with them, and a theme. And my favorite project I think I've ever done, and I hope this isn't like kind of, I know you didn't ask it, so I'm just
no,
to the side.
Go for it, because that's literally my next question.
Oh, good. Is this wax vessel project for me and him, call it us. So they're like a kind of old, like real, like proper old screamo band from like MySpace and shit. I think it's like 2003, 2007. So not only like I got to make them like a new logo that's very based on their old identity. We've got this like incredible spread by I think his name's Michael Learley that's done this painting.
Wow.
And I've got my little Lab 13 there, wax vessel logo, all brutal there. That was when I think we were going to do label maker, but like the guy did like his handmade text, so we put them on top of the labels.
Incredible.
But this is,
I was going to say, is that 4 gatefold?
Yeah. He had to get this like kind of custom designed. And inside here, so we've got all the credits that I got to lay out in here. And these burns, and I don't want to toot my own horn here, but it's my favorite project, so I'm gonna. These burns, I made like I burnt paper, scanned them in, put them all over the place. So Michael Learley was the cover painting, and he did an insane job. And we've got Douglas Walker. He's a really great texture artist, and I love his work. And he made this like he does handmade textures. That were like in the center of the gatefold, and you know, each record, you know, it's like with the old artwork on.
No way.
With a cool vinyl in. Oh, and like, so each vinyl has like a texture in the middle that was like, I kind of tried to design the texture around the artwork it was in. So like this release Loss is very painty and splodgy, so the texture in the middle, painty and splodgy. We've got these two, and so the texture for that, as you can see, is like kind of like tree. Oh wait, it's the wrong way around.
Dude,
like tree texture. We got like a swirly one for this, and look at that record.
That is,
Are you kidding me?
That's absolutely insane. It looks like a sunflower.
This is Wax Mage that presses these, and Heath at Wax Mage, an incredible vinyl artist that is just insane.
Yeah, absolutely insane.
This is like such an iconic one for them. That texture. Oh, again, wrong way around. What am I like? Like I tried to make like this texture. I think I used like a kind of a brush to kind of make it like building looking, and then this is like using the like little bobbly bits. And then we've got this 72-page booklet.
No way.
I was lucky enough to design like, so the band, Aaron, the one of the members of the band who I was working with, they were kind of like mostly like a duo, but like they had other members come and go and stuff. But they were, I think, like, there's a bunch of different heads that have been part of this project. And Aaron was incredible to work with. He was like giving me all their resources, finding all their old photos. He put them in a Google Drive, and there was like me, Aaron, Wax Vessel working at our best to produce repress this old music in its purest, like coolest form. And I got to hand make a bunch of textures to like put in this 72-page booklet. Like it's all scrapbooky, Bernie, each like, and it follows, there's like little themes within each one. But again, and I've got this string.
Yeah, dude.
Aaron actually got 4 versions of this book, and I made the string line up along 4 different spreads. So I think it starts here because it's following their like tour.
Yeah.
So as the tour goes through, we've got this string that if you get all the books together, will go through them.
Way.
And yeah, it's absolutely one of the best things I've ever done, and Wax Vessel gave me that chance to produce one of the coolest things ever.
It's like a Bible.
And I think, yeah, and there's this picture of Not Gloost's vocalist, Brian Garris, holding it, and that was really kind of quite cool to see because he was into me and him call it us, I guess, when he was younger.
That's so sick.
But anyway, I'm done tooting my own horn on that project.
That's absolutely phenomenal. Like, that's literally one of the nicest packages I've ever seen a record come in. Like, my God.
It's ridiculous, right?
And that's the full discography in like one release, was it? Like one...
Yeah, everything I've ever done.
Jesus, mate. That's so nice. What an awesome project to be involved in. Just like Wax Vessel in general. I just think that whole, special releases with like, custom layouts and like really fine attention to detail. I think you guys must be a match made in heaven because you have such an attention to detail and authenticity in the design side, and then your man definitely has it in the physical side, whether it's like materials or the finished product and stuff. Like,
yeah, I kind of it's hard to get my head around how much like kind of passion and care, and like the fact like Nick's like this kind of like older deathcore kid that like still is so passionate about all this old music. I think it's awesome.
So just for my final question here, can you share a personal anecdote or a valuable lesson that you've learned throughout your career as a designer within the world of heavy metal?
Yeah, don't trust band managers. Some of them are safe, and like if you big up the safe ones. I love working with good ones, but oh my God, they are the worst. Every time I've worked with some of the bigger bands and I work through a manager, I genuinely want to pull my hair out. They don't understand how art works.
Yeah.
And they just want to rinse you, man. And big bands think that you'll drop anything for them because they got a big name. Not all of them. Some are safe, but a lot of the time, don't put your foot or your hand out for the big bands and the managers and stuff. It's the passionate little guys that you want to work with. And then another little one is, I guess, more for like design in general and metal logos. Focus on balance rather than symmetry, because symmetry is great and all, but if you can't balance, then it's not. Symmetry is just like a crux almost. Make a balance, however that is.
Like, do you mean in a sense of almost using the negative? I think negative space is such an important part of any logo or like design or layout, and I find a lot of people sort of fall down on that. You want like your layer forms and stuff to like breathe and, as you said, feel balanced within the space that it lives in. It can be hard to sort of like master and get a handle on it. Like I'm still, every day I'm still working to try get better, and
yeah, no doubt
the way to go. But I do see a lot of like new designers, they will kind of they have so much potential, but they're not focusing maybe on like what they should be focusing on.
Yeah, so I think with my line of balance, not symmetry, is if I got told that when I was younger, I would have liked it to be like, don't be so like, I think metal logos tell us to make a perfectly symmetrical design, and it's not the way to go. And that is a transferable skill that you can bring in any form of design, because you are laying something out at the end of the day. So I wish I got told that. So it's not like from a place of being like, if you make a symmetrical logo, you're a dickhead. I mean, like, just think about it while you're younger.
Words of wisdom, dude. Absolutely brilliant. And with that, my little list of questions is done. I just want to thank you so much for the unbelievable chats. It's been so interesting. You're an absolute gem to talk to you. I could sit here and talk all day.
Thank you.
And
me too. And we'll do that someday.
Absolutely.
Hopefully in person.
Hopefully we'll be able to get a pint and go catch a show together sometime. Big love, man.
I mean, I feel like I'm so sad that I didn't get to toot your horn more, because like you are one of my favorite artists ever, and you have been the second you reached out to me too. Like that, I think when I see someone that I also admire, like if they connect with me, I'm gonna put that energy in, and I've always again appreciated every damn thing you do. Like it's so good. So yeah, never stop.
You're an absolute legend, mate. Touched my heart there. Thank you so much, and yeah, can't wait to chat again soon, dude. Peace out.
Yeah.